the original Arabs, they weren't the same color as the Arabs we know today. Because people that we classify as Arab today, most of them are not really Arab. They're people who have become Arabized over time. So if you look at people in Sham, if you look at people like Syrians, Lebanese, Jordanians, Palestinians, etc., these are people who historically they were Phoenician and they were Roman. And then when the Arab rule came, they learned Arabic, they intermarried with Arabs, and so they became Arab. And they call themselves Arab. But if you look at them genetically, they have more Phoenician blood and Roman blood than Arab blood. If you go to Egypt, people who today classify themselves as Arab in Egypt, if you look historically, a lot of them have Coptic blood, a lot of them have Greek blood and Roman blood, a lot of them have Turkish blood from the Ottomans, and they have become Arabized. So even the last king of Egypt, if you look at like Muhammad Ali Pasha and King Farouk, they were Albanian originally. It was an Albanian general under the Turkish Ottomans that came to Egypt. They learned Arabic, they intermarried with Arabs, and then they called themselves Arabs, but originally they're European. So Jahiz points out that he says the family of the Prophet ﷺ, the sons of Abu Talib, were all described as being dark skinned. They were described as being either Aswad, black, or Adam, very, very dark skinned. And something that historically points to the fact is the fact that the Prophet ﷺ had an aunt called Hakim. Her nickname was Al Bayda, the white one. Why would you need to call one child Al Bayda, the white one, amongst all of the children of Abu Talib? That shows that the majority of them then weren't white, or the
Yeah.
majority of them then were probably dark, which is why they called her Al Bayda. So when we hear about the historical narrative of Bilal al Habashi, who came from Ethiopia, he was half Arab, half Ethiopian, and he was known as an African. He was known as a black person historically. Even the whole title Beyond Bilal is around the fact that Bilal is usually the token black guy when it comes to speaking about Islamic history. Bilal and Sayyidina Ali were both described as having the exact same skin complexion, which was Adam, Shadid al Utma. They were very, very dark skinned. So if you look at me, they would have been darker than me, both of them, Ali and Sayyidina Bilal. And so that shows you that historically, when we look back at these figures, the way that we racialize people today, if we apply those same standards to the historical figures, many of the people who we look at historically as being, non-black would have been racialized today as black. And so when we have this anti-blackness and when we have racism and when we have colorism and we have all of these things, it's important for us to look back at the people who are the most revered people in our tradition and realize that if you have those internal biases against dark-skinned people or against black people, then that means if you were alive at the time of these great people, or if these great people were alive in our time, you would treat them in the same way and you'll have the same biases towards them.